Hi guys, making a video today in regards to Jake Flair. Recently, he released a video that is extremely informative in regards to homelessness and the ruling of grant passing when it comes to the criminalization of homelessness in the United States of America and the further erosion of the 8th Amendment, which is protections against unrule and cruel punishment. And furthermore, just basically saying essentially, a third of the United States of America will be criminalized, essentially. So let's get into the video.
Guys, Friar Tuck here. So I get a question a lot, especially during my live stream. So if you're not in my live stream 7 o'clock every night, you should probably join there. You can ask any question you want. But during my live streams and even in some of the comments, one of the things that I constantly hear is, how did you become homeless? How did I become homeless? Is a number one question that a lot of people ask. Now, I've done other videos on this, but I want to take the time not to just to highlight how I became homeless, but also to talk about how so many other people are becoming homeless. It used to be in like the 70s and 80s. Yeah, these were drug addicts, veterans that came back from war that had developed drug addictions while they were in country. And so therefore that's the general stigma that we have on homelessness. But over the last 15 to 20 years, a lot of that has changed because it's become more because of economic reasons than anything. So, when we had the 2001 crash, the dot-com bust, and then we had the 2008 crash, and then now we had 2020 with the lockdowns, and now we're going through a global economic collapse. And if you notice, every few years, we're starting to have a major economic downturn. And this is actually what is leading a lot of people to become homeless. And with the economic collapse that we are on the verge of having right now, or that we're at the beginning stages of, this is going to create a whole new style of homeless. So what you used to think about homelessness is old think. It is part of the old guard, the old ideas, because you used to have opportunities, there used to be jobs, you used to get good benefits.
Everything that this man is saying is fully spot on. It is fully spot on what he is saying. Seriously, like homelessness, if you watch the movie Down and Out in Beverly Hills, oh my God, I love that movie. I grew up with it when I was a kid, with Richard Dreyfuss and Elizabeth Pena. What a great movie. Like homelessness back then, it was like, oh, okay, we're gypsies, we don't want to pay rent, we don't want to pay taxes, we don't want to be part of the system. Like that's essentially what it was. It was something that was almost actually voluntary back then, homelessness, essentially speaking. But now you got people that are working full-time, like 2 full-time jobs, and they're homeless because their credit score's in the shitter, essentially, because of the pandemic. But when it comes to homelessness back then, railroad hopping, truck hopping, basically getting taxis and shit, hitchhiking, essentially speaking. Like, homelessness, it was almost a cultured thing, literally. I mean, the hippies did it. The hippies were living rough, living it out and stuff like that, doing psychedelics. It was essentially what the thing, we're protesting the Vietnam War by not wanting to pay taxes. It was essentially almost a voluntary thing to be homeless back then. Homelessness now is literally by brute force from the government and from the corporations, the corporate class. It literally is, seeing what this country has turned into. But with railroad hopping, you could easily railroad hop. You can get onto a train, you can get on Union Pacific, or, the Trans-America railroads. You could easily get on those back in the 60s, the 50s. I knew a guy who actually was doing that, essentially, back in the 90s. You could do that shit back then. Now, it's like a federal felony. Like, you are fully committing a federal offense by literally railroad hopping. It's just the criminalization of homelessness is so insane in this country now. It's like the fact that the Supreme Court passed what they passed when it came to Grants Pass ruling is a complete violation of the 8th Amendment and cruel and unusual punishment. But the fact is this country doesn't respect
We used to be able to afford to live. But with inflation, now we see the cost of housing going up. I have a subscriber that, working a full-time job could not afford food and rent, and so he had to make a choice. He decided to go and live in his car. This is something that's happened a lot for me. I survived. I had a janitorial business. I'd been in business for about 6 years, and we were doing really well. I had more work than I knew what to do with. My biggest problem was finding employees, and for a business owner, that's a problem that most people would like to have. However, with the whole border crisis going on and all the crazy stuff that was going on there, you end up, we ended up getting shot at on the way to our appointments, and so therefore I had 2 weeks to close down my business because nobody wanted to go to work if they were going to get shot at on the way to their appointment. In Texas, it's very dangerous there. That's part of the reason why I won't go to Texas, is because of that. That's like ground zero for everything that's going on with the whole border crisis. Okay. And so I went to stay with my parents for about a year, tried to restart my business, thought I would, try and see what it is that I could do. And it didn't work out. The economy is really not suited for businesses, especially new startups. It's about the larger corporations going out and just consolidating all of the smaller mom and pop shops, so that we now become more of a corporatocracy than we've ever been before. Okay, so this is something that affected me. I have another subscriber who was a rigger, and as a rigger, which for parachutes and stuff, with the shutdowns and everything, he still hasn't gotten back to work. It basically decimated his whole industry. You have white collar workers that are getting laid off, and there's not enough jobs for them. These people, they went to college, they thought they would get a good job. Now they're not even getting paid enough to be able to afford rent, one. And then two, they're getting laid off. They're having to work twice as hard for half as much, because when there's an economic downturn, that is an employer's market, which means he can get great labor at a cheap price, versus what we were dealing with under the Trump administration. It was an employee's market, which meant that there was more.
Everything this man is saying is fully spot on. Everything. Like, seriously. Like, even like when it comes to the death of small businesses, when it comes to these multi-conglomerates and massive corporations, he's right. He is literally right. I mean, guys, so many third places, so many social circles have just, they're gone. Like, and they're not coming back. Like, the malls are not coming back. The third places are not coming back. Those family small businesses and shit that were like really well known, stuff like that. People would go to meet people and such like that. Happy hour. That shit's done. A lot of that shit is done because of the economy and where we are now. And at the same time, these corporations are like, okay, since we're investing, let's invest in dating sites. Okay, we've commodified dating. We've commodified and basically monopolized, these dating apps and such, basically. Oh, wow, people are more depressed. Great. Let's invest in pharmaceutical companies. We know people are going to get more depressed, so let's invest in pharmaceutical companies. Great. Shove them a bunch of antidepressants, shove them a bunch of antipsychotropic medications, shove them a bunch of pain pills, and it's a circular economy. You are making money off of people's suffering, off of people's misery, and they go to get high or this or that. They go to get, to turn off their feelings or turn off their emotions. Oh, go to a psychiatrist, write up a prescription for some analog for methamphetamine since your child has ADD or ADHD. Great, here it is right here. Oh yeah, you're depressed. Let's prescribe her Zoloft and lithium together. Yep, send it off. Like, it's just looking at the economy, the economy is literally a parasite. The economy is so fucking parasitic. Like, it's essentially a virus wrapped in a bacteria, wrapped in a protozoa or some sort of amoeba, wrapped in a parasite. That's literally what the economy is now. It's just it consume, el consumero, like, just everything that's bigger is just consuming and just overlapping what's even there now, essentially speaking. That's what's happened within, you could say, the Western economy. Like, it's just, and the government is just throwing the citizens overboard. They are completely just gutting their tax base and their constituents overboard. And this is why people are choosing to go homeless. They're like, you know what? We're going to take back our authority when it comes to being homeless. We're going to take back our authority when it comes to how I live. And that's why Grants Pass ruling passed to criminalize homelessness. That's the reason why, because the government knows, oh shit, I'm not receiving tax base. Oh shit, private prison corporations like Geo Group essentially can now make money. Oh yeah, this person doesn't want to work. Oh, this person doesn't want to work. This person doesn't want to pay. Well, criminalize them, send them to my private prison so they can work for pennies to cents on the dollar. There it is. There it is. You didn't want your $15 an hour job. You didn't want your $7.25 an hour job because, you know, you think that there's more to life than just working for me and being a wage cuck slave. Yeah, screw you. You're jailed for being homeless and you're going to work for me for pennies and cents on the dollar. That is essentially what you are seeing now in the United States of America. And I just want to go back to this guy's video because everything he's saying, I meant, this is why so many people are leaving the cities now.
There was more work than there was employees, so therefore they could demand higher wages and things like that. And that was a good thing about the Trump economy, okay, from a business owner's standpoint. But now that things have changed and now that we're in a downturn and we're also seeing, you know, the cost of rent has skyrocketed to astronomical amounts. We not only with layoffs, but we also have the automation of the workforce. We have advanced robotics. We have artificial intelligence. We have all these different things that are going after the workers. Plus, with these foreign-born workers coming into the country, they are more desirable by these large corporations because they'll work for less and they'll be happy about it because they don't understand the cost of living, you know, here in the States versus the way that the local worker does, the native-born worker. And so native-born workers are being pushed out of the workforce by the foreign-born workers because the foreign-born workers are more, I forget what the technical term.
This is also true what he's saying. When it comes to foreign people, this is why they love illegal immigration. This is why it's like they love, you know, undocumented immigrants. They love, and I don't mean it as in the sense of like, oh, we care about undocumented immigrants. We care about people suffering in third world countries, countries that America bombed and stuff like that, you know, out of the pure vengeance of oil and supremacy within the global hegemony. No. That's essentially what they, you know, even though after America's done all these things, no. They love undocumented immigrants because, holy shit, they don't have legal status. Holy moly, they can't file for a union. They can't even sign for a union. They're not American citizens. They can't participate in union elections. 3, I can hang immigration status above their heads if they step out of line, you know, in retaliation. Let's say, oh, I'm a manager and I sexually assault some woman or something, or I sexually assault some man, or vice versa, essentially, basically. Oh, you're going to tell on me? You're going to go to OSHA? You're going to try to report this child labor to OSHA? I don't think so. I'll contact ICE, you know, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and I'll ship your ass back to Mexico, where the fuck you come from. That's essentially, that's what corporations, like, they're known for this. Like Chevrolet, GM, Ford, like, they actually employed children. They were literally employing undocumented child immigrants at their factories. And they still haven't been fined. They still haven't, like, literally. So meanwhile, those people were deported. CEOs have still not been questioned or fined whatsoever. So yeah, you will see more of this. You will see a lot more of this. This is why you have, like, Republican states passing child labor laws and shit like that. Oh yeah, you know, you no longer need a work permit to work at 14 years of age. You can work until 11 p.m. Excuse me. I have a life. I'm a teenager. There's a lot of stuff happening down here. I have puberty, which is going on. The last thing I want to do is work. I want to follow my dreams. I want to hang out with my friends. I want to socialize. I don't want to feel like I'm depressed or all this weird hormonal stuff is happening to me because and such. But no, in the United States of America and the way the economy is, a lot of parents are sending their kids to work now. Meanwhile, while parents need to work 2 jobs just to survive, and now they're sending their kids off into the corporate meat grinder. Like I said, it's just previously. I'm gonna go back to this guy. I'm gonna just tell you this right now. If you can leave America, leave. Get out. If you can start a business online, Shopify, Wix, drop shipping, do it. And I'm also gonna say this to you right now. As long as you're not taking anybody else against their will, if it's gray area or if it's like, illicit, fuck it. I mean, if you need to survive, do it to survive. I honestly, like, the way that this economy is, I mean, they're like, oh yeah, people are going to these routes that are illicit trade and this and that, basically. You have some, like, border official from, like, Customs and Border Patrol saying, like, ever since the pandemic, people are going to illicit routes. I'm like, yeah, Sherlock. People have no money. The government has literally thrown people overboard. What do you expect them to do?
Was that, but they were more attractive than the natural born worker. And so now you have people that, through no fault of their own, because of poor management by our leaders, and many other things that are happening that are actually leading them to become homeless. So your average homeless that you're going to start seeing over the next few years, myself included, it's not that we're lazy. It's not that we're drug addicts. It's not that we don't want to go out and we don't want to do something. It's that because of all of the crap that's been going on and how it just keeps compounding and getting much worse, the average American is going to be experiencing homelessness because through reasons that are no fault of their own, whether it be the loss of a job, gone through their savings, and can't rummage up the money because it's not out there, or they're working 3, 4, 5 jobs, running themselves into the ground, and how long is that sustainable before they suffer from a work injury or just from exhaustion and just kind of their whole body shuts down? I've been through that myself. It's not pleasant. It's not fun. It took me several months to be able to get back on track because I ran myself into the ground, working as much as I possibly could. But that is, that is part of being a survivor and surviving what is coming. So when you want to ask not how did I become homeless, what you should really be asking is what is really causing all of this? What is pushing so many people that shouldn't be homeless into a situation where they are homeless? And then not only that, we've got a Supreme Court decision that has come down in favor of the cities to now, in a few years, 1/3 of the U.S. population will be criminalized just for suffering the consequences of things that were no fault of their own. Poor leadership, global war, supply chain disruptions, you name it. All of these contributing factors are making it to where even the common man will become homeless now. And so, I mean, not even Donald Trump can fix this because it's too deep. It's rooted too deep. And a lot of people think that he will. But I think that really what needs to happen is that this needs to be a grassroots movement, a grassroots effort, where the homeless band together, not to get free stuff, but to be treated with dignity and the same respect as a housed individual. Okay, because that's been the fight that we've had. That's what the Ninth Circuit Court decision was. That's what this whole Grants Pass decision was about, is that just because we're homeless doesn't make us any less of a human being. But the way that the system looks at us is that if we're not putting money in, and if they cannot harvest our resources, then we are of no use, and they will figure out another way to put us to use, whether it be harvesting us through the criminal justice system, because every crime has a penal sum attached to it, upon which they put out in municipal bonds so that they can continue to fund the system. Okay, so if I can't pay you taxes, you're just going to put me in jail and take money from me that way. And how long until we really sit back and see this as a major issue? Okay, so this is what I would like to share with you. I'm going to give you guys some bonus footage here at the very end, but I want to say thank you for watching the video. If you haven't become a subscriber, become a subscriber.
Right. He's completely right. Everything he just said was completely right. The whole stereotype, the whole stereotypical thing about homelessness, literally speaking, is this. It is no longer like, oh, drug addicts, lazy people, and this and that. No. And the fact that most Americans, like a lot of Americans, will be experiencing homelessness due to no fault of their own, hit the fucking nail on the coffin. Seriously. Because, yeah, like literally, job loss, it's pretty obvious. We're in a recession. Britain's in a recession. Britain has been in a recession since Q3 of last year. So America's in a recession. It is. The depression is coming. The depression is definitely coming. It definitely is coming. And it makes no difference. People are like, oh, vote for Kamala, vote for Kamala, vote for Trump, vote for Trump. My fascist is better than yours. My corporate politician's better than yours, essentially speaking. And it's like, literally, it's not. The economy, presidents should have taken control of the economy 10, 15, at most stretching it 10 years ago. But they should have taken control of it 20, 30 years ago when it came to the dot-com boom. You know, that happened, the dot-com crash. But when it comes to people experiencing homelessness, yeah, it's... There are people that are literally, who have college degrees. There are people that literally have masters who are working at McDonald's. It's like seriously, I remember applying for a job. I was so eager for a job. I had like an interview with McDonald's, essentially. It was going to be HVAC replacement repairman. That's what I was going to be. Take a simple course, simple stupid, 1 month, that was it. Hired. And it was for $20 an hour, literally, which $20 an hour now is essentially the new $15 an hour minimum wage when it comes to inflation. But when it comes to it, it's like, I remember like when I was like 19 years of age, like 20 years of age, like just after my father passed away, seeing this guy with a master's degree within computer science, you know, coding, essentially, like that. And this is at the time when we started seeing all those coding commercials, like join this school, join that school. Don't join these schools, they're full of shit. But they can't guarantee you crap. But when it comes to like seeing him have a master's degree in computer science, something really just turned on in my head. I was like, I have really got to fucking start a business. I have really got to figure out some different fucking avenues. Like, seriously. And then seeing like basically a person. I saw this one MMA fighter as well, who was part of PFC, which is like a couple of steps before you get to UFC, essentially. And you know, and steps before Bellator. But just seeing like basically people trying to chase a dream, and then they're working for some soulless, faceless, soul-sucking corporation like McDonald's, I was just like, I really need to start a bit. I really need to fucking reevaluate everything in my life. Because it's like, everything that I was taught in school was a complete lie, literally. Oh, you'll be fine, follow the system, graduate from high school, go to college. No, like, do everything opposite of what the government is telling you. It will save you.